Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a bit of a finals match here between in the bottom right spawning as our blue Protoss player Monsieur Classique, and in the top left as our red Terran player playing for Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. Both of these players won the last two best of fives that I casted, so we had a little bit of a tournament replay pack here, and now I figured, you know what, I'll do the finals between them two as well. So Classic versus ByuN. It is starting on Curious Minds. That means that, what veto did we see out of Classic then? Must have been a Berlingrad veto. And ByuN with the first map pick being Curious Minds. Considered one of the greatest maps for Terran in the current map pool, especially TVP. It is fantastic. You just have this large open area in between these bases. You can't really take the triangle base because of potential siege locations up here and up here, making it difficult to break them. Ooh, Classic scouting a lot for any potential proxy Rexes as well. I like that. I enjoy it. And this looks like a bit of a Reaper wall starting here. I know that ByuN doesn't mind opening with Reapers, and especially on a map like Curious Minds. Funnily enough, the better the map for Terran is, the more often they actually play a build that allows for a bit of aggression, but also just a lot of safety. And that is really what this 2 gas opener is. It is a safe build order. It allows you to get good scouting information, perhaps at the price of a couple of SCVs. There's always the potential that you deal some damage with either the Reapers, the Hellions, or whatever follow-up you have planned. Really quick tech, fast siege tanks, fast cyclones, everything is available. The only thing you're often lacking is marine count, because you do open up with at least 2 Reapers majority of the time. It is possible to open up with just a single Reaper, but it is rare to see. We'll have to wait and see what the actual plan here is for ByuN. So far, yep, there we go. It wasn't being queued up yet, but second Reaper will start. So Reaper makes its way across the map. At the same time, we see an Adept being chrono boosted here out of Classic. This wall was interesting at the same time, by the way, because I don't actually think this functions as a wall. I believe you need another pylon over here. This does not quite look complete in my mind. I could be thinking, oh, you're going to need a unit here. That's what Classic is going to end up doing. And Classic actually getting a single shot off here to start with. It's not going to get the third one. It does get the second. CC goes down, and that goes down at 230-ish. That is a solid 50 seconds later than a command center usually goes down. So we know that there will be some oversaturation in the main base as a result of that. And at the same time, you also will have, I guess it's what, 4 workers less? 50 seconds? About 4 workers less, because of the time SCV is 12 seconds, and 50 seconds divided by 4. It's a little more than 4 workers. Slightly, like 2 seconds. So yeah. This Adept is going to finish up, and that means this Adept is going to end up dying as well. We'll be capable of dealing, what was that, 3 shots against the Hellion. Wouldn't mind to see that Hellion being repaired. It's difficult to move across the map otherwise. Stargate as a follow-up tool as well. 3rd pylon already in the main base, as more Adepts are being constructed here. Probably the correct call as well. Probably the correct call. Oracle gets built, which I also kind of like. Ooh, and ByuN following this up with what many people kind of consider to be the young standard in Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, fast extra barracks. However, rather than it being 2 fast extra barracks, it's only a single fast extra barracks. And with a lot of gas available, I wouldn't be surprised to see if we get a starport, and after that first cyclone, we just see a reactor being built with that factory. No, it's going to be a second cyclone. Okay, second cyclone, bunch of marines, stim as well. We could be looking at a push here across the map with 16, 17 marines, 2 to 3 factory units, without a 3rd Rex. This is interesting to see, and at the same time we see Classic, after that initial Oracle, go into Phoenixes, at least into a single Phoenix so far. It's not enough gas to get both charge and another Phoenix. So I guess the priority is going to be with charge here, or even with blink. No way. Oh my god, blink. Yeah, I'm surprised by blink here as a follow-up. And that is just simply because it's going to be extremely late. There will be no room available for additional tech before stim and combat shield finish up. And Stalkers are great, don't get me wrong. On many maps you can play Stalkers with sentries and you can hold ramps really easily. However, look at this. This entire area, if you want to force field this, you'll need about 15 sentries. That is not going to be possible here for Classic. The gas for 15 sentries isn't going to be available until the 10-minute mark. So we're working with a big Stalker Ball, aided with a single Oracle, a single Phoenix, which is practically useless because there's no air units yet. I actually think that Classic is in a little bit of trouble, just purely based on the fact that he's opening Blink here. We actually never really saw a move out either out of ByuN with these Marines and with those Cyclones. Extra Marauders are now being added though, so that might actually provide some value. First Stasis Ward will be built here. In the back is kind of a backup tool. Yeah, charge is not going to be done, and that means that really it's just going to be range units. Another reason, by the way, why it's so bad is because there's no super battery possible, and there's not even a pylon right now on the low ground, so no regular battery even. If you would build a regular battery on the low ground, it would only have half the energy. So there's just a lot of issues. Sentries are a lot less useful unless you have 15, like I mentioned before. And both of these drops are also going to go unspotted. So this has just been a terrible start so far for Classic. And honestly, taking a look at the current situation, it is completely possible that Classic just dies in the next minute and a half. This Phoenix is extremely important, this recall is going to be extremely important as well, and this might actually be the saving grace. The fact that ByuN decided to not straight up attack, but instead go for a drop, might actually be the saving grace. Or, oh my god, that's a recall that I would not want to be on the executing end of that recall. I would not want to be a Stalker. 11 workers are going to get taken out. At the same time, a bunch of ByuN's units are moving in towards a stasis as well. This is just extremely painful. This was a painful start for Classic. He doesn't even get both of these medevacts. I don't want to say this is game over, but how is Classic going to defend the follow-up push? 8 gates have finished up at this point. +1 is about to finish up. Charge still only halfway done. That means in these open areas where kiting space is infinite, even if you hit your force fields, look at these zealots being pathetic little losers, just getting absolutely destroyed by this bio army. Classic is going to get pushed back, does not have the supply, does not have the upgrade, does not have the tech either, and all of these zealots are going to practically die before they even reach this army. ByuN doesn't even feel the need to kite anymore. He's going to continue fighting this. Mines now being dropped in towards the natural. Great pickup there out of ByuN. Look at the smoothness, the crispness of his actions. Super battery gets activated on the high ground. These zealots finally are going to have charge, but there's simply too many marauders. There's still a single marine in there as well. Mines are being burrowed. Probes are going to get taken out, and now these pylons will get sniped. GG gets called, and ByuN takes game number 1. And in our second game over here on Hardwire, Classic will need to switch it up. Now, of course, this is a better map for Protoss. So even if nothing changes in the early game, live will just be easier. This is a map where that type of style that you played in that last game actually would be viable. I am surprised to see such almost an elementary mistake here out of Classic in that last game. Pretending like maps don't really matter. Well, it's obviously the case that different maps, you know, they support different playstyles. And on that last map, I think you either really need to rely on early Colossi, or you need to kind of say, okay, I don't really care about the terrain, and I do not want to defend through chokes. Just get a lot of charge lots out, and sure, you're going to get kited back a lot, but that will be the same on every single map. So yeah, it's a really tricky situation all around here, I think, for Classic on Curious Minds. But yeah, that last build order and the decisions that were made there is something that I can't really agree with. Another thing that a thing that I do love out of Classic, by the way, is that he mixes up his scouting pattern with the probe around the main base. And what I mean about that is that last game he checked near the jump up ramp, so this general area. That means that any Reaper or any proxy rack over here would have gotten spotted. This time, however, he goes for the far away location, the location closer to the Nexi. So this basically is giving ByuN a 50-50 coin toss of being spotted if he wanted to proxy racks. So that's actually a cool little thing. Now, another thing that contributes to this, obviously, is that this time around, it is possible to get a full Reaper wall with your initial 3 buildings. Which means if there was a proxy Reaper over here, a Reaper would only be capable of getting here and indeed needs to take the long way round. 2 bottle whiskeys for the way. And that Reaper could use some sweet company. Maybe taken SCV. What do you say? Yeah. So yeah, if a barracks was over here, it would obviously not be great for ByuN right now either. Need to go all the way around till it reaches the main base. First unit's going to be an adapt here, no warp gate being researched, and I'm feeling a Stargate, this time on the low ground, is not going to get spotted here yet by ByuN. But he sees the lack of a warp gate. I think he saw that. Tried to boost himself over that little edge, did not quite work out, needs to be careful. Doesn't want to get double hit here by an adapt, but the control on the Reaper is, well, pretty much perfect, except for the fact that he missed that boost over the wall. I think ByuN is aware that this is a Stargate. I mean, the warp gate being delayed for that long is such a telltale sign of it being Stargate. You cannot afford to do something like that with a Twilight or a Robotics. Nice try, buddy. Tries to boost himself over again, once again fails. That actually is going to make its way across the map, though. This SCV is going to die. No bunker here. No tech here either. 3 times the charm, but not for ByuN. Is he going to try a 4th time? This is actually sad to watch. Maybe you should have practiced this before the game rather than during the game. Here we go again. Attempt number 4. Hey. There's no shot he's gonna go again, right? Eventually these units are just gonna move there and kill it. Like, the best part is that getting into the main base isn't even that important because there's no tech there. Up, hey, number 5. It's Mumbo number 5. Maybe it's not even possible here on this map. I just give up, honestly. I give up. It spots the Oracle at this point with the drop. And this Oracle flies into the Marines. And into the natural will take out 1, 2 workers maybe. Could have gone for that mule, I feel like might have been better. Oh my god, huge miscontrol there out of Classic. What an enormous error. And at the same time, oh no. The double mine drop is going to hit the main base. There's nothing in position to deal with it if we don't count this Phoenix, which I will not count because a single Phoenix is not good enough to deal with this. Mines are being redropped here. No lifts whatsoever. Single mine will get the shoot. I mean, this Phoenix eventually will kill it, so you just need to drop it. Oh, but you lifts the wrong mine. And this is a mistakes galore over here out of Classic so far this game. Sure, ByuN managed to miss the jump over this gateway, what was it, 5 times? But Classic is playing a sloppy early game here. Losing that Oracle to the Marines, only killing 2 SCVs. Taking way more damage from these mines than he ever should have in my mind. Even losing 2 workers to a Reaper as well. This has been a disastrous start here for Classic, given the build orders. In the context of the build orders, if you usually say you're opening up Oracle into Phoenix against someone playing Mine Drop, that is a dream scenario for Protoss. However, it didn't end up being a dream scenario. It's still a playable position. This is not over by any stretch of the imagination. But usually, Classic should have a significant lead, and that is not the case here. Usually when these 2 build orders meet, yeah, we would expect the Protoss to be kind of far ahead, honestly. Not far enough ahead to just straight up win the game, but a 65-35 type of split is what I would expect after this. But this time around, I'm actually favoring this game a little bit, 55, maybe even 60 here for ByuN, 60-40 or 55-45. Raven is a useful tool, but is also a tool that is easily taken away from you. Phoenixes are extremely powerful against it. You can often just dive on top of that Raven, especially if you get a Phoenix count that is higher than 3. And that is the case here. 4 Phoenixes already out, 5th Phoenix on the way. Mules are being dropped from the sky, so that will boost the income a little bit here for ByuN, who has nice supply. We see the extra gateways finishing up right now here for Classic. As ByuN needs to wait a little bit for... Whoa, combat shield actually still 49 seconds away. Stim still 45 seconds away as well. There's a very big timing window in which Classic can actually boost his own army count here. His army is going to... Well, I don't want to say suck. Like, it's a good army, but be relatively primitive here. It is a weak army. It is a weak army if it scales into a longer game. 2 Marines are going to get picked off for free, and this is where the real power of the Phoenix comes in, of course, is when the Terran decides... Oh my good lord, you gotta be kidding me, I didn't see it, but neither did Classic. 4 Phoenixes get taken out, so that means No, 3 Phoenix get taken out. I can't count. Life is difficult for me. 3 Phoenix end up getting taken out. That means that this Raven now is pretty secure, actually. And that makes all of this a lot scarier. An anti-armor missile could completely change the outcome of any fight here. Do we get to see an anti-armor missile? Yes, we do. No split whatsoever. -3 armor on all of these zealots. An immediate pullback, which is obviously the correct call. Is there still enough energy for another anti-armor missile? The answer is no. But that was a huge saving grace there. This army out of Classic is not going to skill too well, but he has a lot of units. And if that anti-armor missile rounds out, which, let's face it, it will. That is how this spell works. Once the units aren't orange anymore, the effect is gone. And that is right now. We do see +1 already done as well on this army. This is a big feat. Oh my good lord. I was going to say a big zealot, big amount of zealots with no follow-up tech whatsoever. Classic needs to fight. He's up in supply, so it feels like there might not be any pressure on him. But Classic actually really needs to fight, because he's building units that the moment Ghost come onto the pitch, this game ends. Like, boom, just like that. 1, 2 big EMPs, and these zealots are worthless. Observer's going to get taken out. Raven is available. Once again, an anti-armor missile could stop this army from chasing. 2 big mine hits as well to start with. Anti-armor is going to hit about 10 zealots here. This initial field is really good. Double force fields not quite going to hit what they want. More mines in the back. This position is fantastic for ByuN. These force fields actually helping him out create a choke. And we see Classic just roaming for a fight because he needs to fight. He needs to win. And he needs to win real quick, because there's no follow-up here. No Colossi on the way, no extra robos. We see that ByuN already just skilled a little bit too well with this bio force, with the mines there as well, and of course with Classic's terrible force fields that actually ended up helping ByuN. I think that ByuN has done it once again. Loses 5 workers at home against a zealot run by. There's still a couple of extra zealots coming in as well, but is the unit count at home big enough currently? I think the answer to that is just a simple and decisive no. There's so many marines in this army, which will allow for a lot of damage output. There's a couple of mines as well, with the splash of course great as well. And these extra marauders to tank that little bit of damage. 5 Rex production behind this. This Immortal is going to get its shield popped immediately. Super battery gets activated as well here in these zealots. Well, they're not even going to connect with any of these units. Mines hitting in a big way. And I think that ByuN has actually done it for sure at this point. There's a lot of zealots on the other side of the map, though. We might actually be looking at a bit of a base trade scenario. And with the help of batteries, that is definitely a possibility. ByuN's army is still a lot bigger, though. And I don't think that Classic can actually ever push it back. This bunker is being repaired as well. And it's actually putting up a decent fight as well. Hold position on these SCVs, helping these marauders stay alive. Shoots at one of these depots and now actually backs himself into a corner. GG gets called as Classic loses his 3rd base fight, his 3rd base, and a lot of probes. And yeah, ByuN takes game number 2 as well, putting himself on match point in this best of 5. And just like that, we've arrived in our 3rd game here on the 2000 different atmospheres ladder edition. Beautiful map. Great map. Map we've seen lots of good games on because of the layout of the initial 5 bases and the difficulty of keeping the 6th base, but even the 5th base to a certain extent, especially in this matchup, it's really difficult. 6th base over here, of course, is just so hard to keep because you generally as a Protoss player set up a defense over here, and the moment Terran takes this watchtower, you need to pre-position yourself in this area, which can be difficult if Terran then decides to continue rotating towards the further right side. So it's a very positional map in a lot of ways. This is something that people perhaps not realize all the time, but it's a map that once the 5th base comes in already, you have similar issues with that 5th base. This is a difficult area to defend as a Protoss player. The same counts for a Terran, by the way. The moment Terran starts growing towards their own 5th, and especially the 6th base, of course, it is really difficult to hold these extra bases. We see an eBay block as a start coming in here for Classic, and as he did not send any worker down to deal with that, that means that this eBay is going to, well, practically finish up all the way. And I'm really curious to see what his actual response is going to be here. Will he pull the workers? No, that is too late. He'll need to take a 3rd base here, but usually when you take a 3rd base with a build like this, you actually need to do that with a Nexus before core. because you want to follow this up with a Stargate that has fast enough units in case of what we're seeing here out of ByuN. This is a Marine Interfactory with a gas first opener. Single gas first. This can lead into double Hellion, 4 Hellion, 6 Hellion, but could also lead into something like a reactor into just a Cyclone push. I think 5 to 7 Marines with a Cyclone, 5 Marines with a Cyclone, and like 7 to 9 Marines when the second Cyclone shows up. In between bases, this can be really tricky. But because the bases are split, Classic is absolutely forced into a Stargate. There is no other option here. It is just simply not imaginable. There's nothing that you can do safely. Ooh, I like this wall. Ooh, that is cute. Look at that. Kind of creating a wall here, making it easier to defend potential Hellion run bys towards the third base. But like I was trying to say is that this base is tricky to defend, and because this was a core before Nexus, the Stargate is delayed because you have less gas with an opener like this. We'll have to see how the actual defense is going to end up going, what it will bring us. Second Adept is out, Stalker on the way as well. Factory is going to get spotted. This Adept might actually be in a little bit of trouble. SCV gets taken out. And Adept needs to run for its own life. We'll get the shade away, so that's big. 2 more Hellions on the way as well. So there's a barracks, no second gas, no starport. So this feels like a classic case of 4 Hellion into maybe 2, 3 racks. Wouldn't mind it. Second rack's going down. We see the swap. Marine production will start as well as most likely a Cyclone. Could also straight away hop in towards a tank. Money is available for now. It's going to be a Cyclone. I think it's a very mature decision here. These 4 Hellions are dangerous. There is only a single Phoenix out right now, which means that after 1 lift... Oh, that got spotted. That got spotted. We need a pylon for the block. There we go. Good block. What I was going to say is that after 1 lift, you're still with the issue that these Hellions can one-shot. This is not going well, though, for ByuN. This has been a surprisingly good defense out of Classic. I am extremely impressed here by this early game. Holy crap. No battery required. Second barracks is on the way here for the Terran player. These Hellions try an alternative angle. Just like with alternative medicine. Doesn't really seem to work very well. 2 Hellions instead are just going to die off. Third Hellion does escape. But that's 4 Hellions that have died for free. Don't forget that if you do open up with a gas first, the late command center, you're losing 3.5 workers or so because of that delayed CC. It's a little bit better than double gas for the Terran economy, but still quite painful. Marine count, of course, also lower than it could have been, so any type of follow-up push will also be weaker as a result. We see a third barracks on the way, double Cyclone, siege tank. Yeah, this is Ryung-esque. Ooh, almost feel like these Phoenixes can fight that, you know? You see a Cyclone, 3 Marines with 4 Phoenixes. It is close, but something that Classic did not want to commit to here. Third base is on the way. We have 2 extra gateways as well as a forge. Twilight Council. This was a really fast third, by the way. Hellion is going to fall. And we see the initial push out here. This feels like a fake push out more than anything. It's going to try and catch some of these Phoenixes. Double lock-ons are definitely helping out. 5 gateways on the way here. For Classic, man, Classic does not mess around. 6 gateways currently being produced. This is a lot of money being invested in things that are not currently defending. And this push, which I said, well, it probably is a fake push. If this isn't a fake push, this could be an issue. Charge not done yet. Finally, Gateway 2 and 3 are finishing up. Battery isn't even here yet either. If ByuN commits to this, that could be an issue. That could be a massive issue here for Classic. He hardly has any Gateway units. Now we see 2 Zealots being warped in. Charge Chrono boosted as well. Cyclones take out 2 workers and move back. That is perhaps a godsend here for Classic, who just doesn't have that many units. Stalker is going to fall. Adept also going down. Stim gets activated here. Oi. Classic in a bit of trouble. Super Battery needs to be activated right now. Phoenix falling rather low. Super Battery not good enough to heal it. Battery gets targeted down. 3 workers have fallen already. Second Phoenix also will fall, with charge not being done yet. I think this push will be capable of returning back home with the remaining forces. And what felt like such a good start for Classic in this early game, I am not so sure if that's actually the case here right now. Sure, the supply still looks good. These Marines are really low. There's a lot of Zealots out on the map. The infrastructure is good. No, actually, this is fine. Yeah, no, this is good for Classic. Yeah. Good early game. Take some minor losses. This could have been a lot better, of course, if 2 batteries were there. I think the super battery needed to be sent a little bit faster as well. Just need to get that at the very start there, I believe. Classic attacking into this is something that I do not really endorse, though. This was a political campaign. I would not be touching this campaign with a 10 feet stick. Yeah. Phoenix going to get taken out. Sentry gets taken out. Kind of a useless engagement here. Just losing some key units. And also explicitly revealing the amount of Zealots that you have, right? The investment into this Zealot force. And that actually, in this case, might give ByuN some peace of mind. Saying, hey, I don't actually have that many important units. I'm not tacking yet into the Robo Bay. At least during that initial push. Now Classic is. So that means that ByuN can take it a little slower. He'll have another minute, maybe even like 70 seconds or so of wiggle room, 80 seconds of wiggle room before that first Colossi pops out. So you give a big clue to your opponent. While if Classic stays home, it is possible that Classic is already building his first Colossi. And in that case, there's a lot more to worry for here for ByuN, who, let's face it, doesn't have the greatest eco and might feel more pressure to attack quicker. While against an army like this, you might actually want to wait for these extra 4 mines as well. Does he spot this medevac? Or this medevac, this observer? The answer is no. These mines are going to get taken out. 2 mines die for free. This is an absolute key timing here that ByuN is hitting, by the way. This is a lot of Zealots, but it's also a lot of bio. Big stim. Ooh, he moves forward a little bit. I think that was a mismove command. He's kiting like an absolute god as well. See these medevacs moving back. Every single Zealot's actually just disappearing. They're melting. Sentries will get taken out as well here. ByuN with a massive win. Classic opting to follow this up with a Disruptor rather than Colossi. Disruptor's great. Absolutely fabulous at clearing mines. But a lot weaker against a pure Marine Marauder army. And this is not an army that actually needs to rely so much on mines anymore, because the Zealot count is so little. I much would have preferred seeing some Colossi here. The Marauder count is at 10. Yes, that is quite big and it's good against Colossi, but there's also a massive amount of Marines. Disruptor, with its inconsistent results, is not going to get anything yet. Second Disruptor is already been spotted. This is a fight that I don't think Classic can win. Oh my god, that was a big Disruptor shot though. And these Zealots are connected with a lot of this bio as well. Phoenix is with a couple of decent lives. Zealots now need to return back home. Is the next Disruptor shot almost available? Yes, maybe. I don't know. Can you repeat the question? One Disruptor is going to get sniped. Nice little fighting position here for the Terran player. It's taking out more and more Zealots, more Marines streaming in as well. Medevacs stay alive, and that is an issue here for Classic, who, as long as the medevac count remains low, these units eventually will be so bruised and battered around that they can't really stim that well anymore without just having so much damage on them that basically get one-shot by the charging in Zealots. We see, what is this? An armory as well as a second eBay on the way. I think I saw a Ghost Academy being built as well. So a lot of gas investments here coming out of ByuN. Still only Disruptors on the way. That one Disruptor shot might actually hit. Yep, kills 2 Marauders. That is free. This Disruptor gets taken out though. And a lot of these Zealots are also going to get taken out. Just making sure that Concussive Shell has been finished. And yes, it has been. There's just not that many units right now for Classic. Another Disruptor is going to move forward. Tries to get a kill. Big pickup. But a little bit too late, and a couple of Marauders will end up falling. Phoenixes deal some damage on these medevacs as well. Another big Disruptor shot. This time it will get sniped in time. No super battery to heal it. These Zealots are all bleeding out. Phoenix is still fighting against these medevacs as the Marine count is extremely low. There's almost no Marines in this army, and that means that these Phoenixes actually can do a fair chunk of damage. 2-2 on the way already here for ByuN, and I think ByuN supply is just a little bit too high. And yeah, this is going to be a 3-0 in this best of 5. I can feel it. Fort base already down as well for ByuN. Fort base already mining for Classic though. As ByuN scans that base on the top side at 12 o'clock and says, hey, if you don't have the 12 o'clock, do you perhaps have the 3 o'clock? And Classic has to admit that he indeed has it and wants to defend this, but that is not going to be possible. There's too many Marauders, too many Marines. This Disruptor perhaps can be a saving grace, but ByuN with the control, with the vision, with the knowledge of what's about to come, will take out this forward base. GG gets called, Classic taps out, and ByuN wins the series 3-0 in this best of 5. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be it for me today. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this series despite its one-sided score. I'll see you all next time for a new video. If you have any suggestions of series that you want to see cast here, be sure to put it down in the comments. And otherwise, ciao ciao.